Alrighty, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This time we're gonna do Pokemon Tyranitar. So just a heads up, as you guys can see, different layout this time. I'm trying out new techniques to see which one I like the best. Hopefully this one works pretty well. Obviously this is a little bit different than the other ones that I've done. So let me know. Let me know if this one works for you. Again, just try to make it where it's more comfortable for me, but also it looks really good for you guys. But for this one, we're going to be talking about Tyranitar, who is probably like one of my top 3 favorite from Gen 2, to be honest. So this is our pseudo legendary. Apologize for the move right there for, the camera move. Again, that's why I'm trying this thing out. But this guy's really freaking awesome. He is from the old mark, as you guys can see, the Mega Constructs and not the actual just Mega as they are now. So might be a little bit harder to find, but I do know that Target still sells it and Amazon as well. I was able to get this one for about $28 if I remember. And keep in mind that this is already after the whole price changes, I think. Again, I'm new to the Pokemon one, so I don't know exactly. But anyways, without further ado, let me stop talking and let's build it. So again, has 396 pieces. Might as well just round it up to 400 if we're going to be honest. And let's open it. So I haven't opened this before just yet. This is my first time opening it. And ooh, pretty awesome. So, okay, cool. So these are labeled, as you guys can see here, 3. I actually like that. So I prefer that they're labeled. Again, like I said in my other one, some of these, like the Pikachu sets and the Charizard, were not labeled, so kind of sucked. But this is actually cool. But I'm also kind of worried because the other ones were like the Mega brand and not just, well, okay, keep in mind Mega and Mega Constructs are the same thing now. Mega Constructs was the old logo, now it's just Mega. So hopefully they're not going that route because this would actually be very confusing. So here we got 4. Sorry for the rustling too. We got 2. Oh, and then we got 2 extra ones. Not really happy about this too much. Just because I'm like, I like to open my bags all together. But let's see how this goes. Ooh, it's a big booklet, as you guys can see. All right, so just looked at it, and 4 and 5 seem to be through just the head. So it looks like we're going to be building the body at first. Keep in mind that I'm going to be building them separate, I guess. So first I'm going to build, for example, if it's first legs, first I'll build the legs. I'll take a pause. And then, obviously you guys are not going to see that, right? Because it's all going to be edited. But I'm going to do, first legs, then the body / whatever, and just connect them. So stuff like that, okay? Keep in mind that I like to open my bags first and just spread them out throughout my entire, table. You're welcome to do that. You don't have to do that. But yeah, so here it says we got to use these 5, which is kind of weird. Oh, no, actually, yeah, these are actually part of the body. So yeah, anyways, let me... Alrighty, we are back. And as you're going to see right now, we're going to have a mess. So let me zoom out like that. And look, this is basically what I have. I like to spread them out. Of course, there was a lot of bags in this one. So normally it'll be like 1 or 2 bags, but this one was requiring like 5 of them. I have no idea why, but this is kind of what I was asking. But anyways, you guys can see there's a lot of mess, but eventually all this is going to be coming to a T-Tar, okay? That's all I know, but I'm actually really excited for this one. So let's get started. All right, so hopefully at this point, this view is a lot better than zooming in like this. I feel like this is just way too much. Unless this is what you guys prefer. Look, this is the ×2. I don't know if this is what you guys prefer. I kind of want to be showing a little bit of the book as well. So y'all let me know what you guys prefer. If like this is perfect because this is just standard. This is ×1. Or if you guys prefer the ×2, which is like that. So you guys can see exactly. But we're gonna be building the, I guess, the body. So first of all, and this is where like it gets a little bit kind of crazy, because now you got all these parts and you're like, okay. But first thing first, we're gonna get this block. Oh, see, this is probably where 2 kind of comes in handy, huh? I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's that one. Next up, we're gonna grab this piece. Again, these are all the freaking things over here, so they're all separate. Just try to find all the pieces like that. We're gonna try to find a rectangle in a sense, and then we know for sure it's one of these. So this is the first step right here. I know it's probably not the best thing, but this is what we got for the moment. So it says we're gonna grab this one, the one with the doorknob, and we're gonna grab the rectangle, and we're just gonna, you know, squeeze these in. Again, doesn't matter which way you do, I guess, have the ball joint. See, I call them different names, so you're gonna have to apologize me for that, but it's gonna have to look something like this. At that point, we're gonna get this thing, and it seems like we're only gonna connect it just to the first one, because that's all it has. And from this one, having it like this, we're gonna connect the giant tower, little square block, into the middle one, leaving 3 spaces open like this. 1, 2, 3. And that's the first step. Step number 2 is gonna consist of the dark green, the 2x6 or 2x3, I apologize, and the other bigger rectangle, the one that looks like this. Okay, it's a 2x3 as well. And for this one, all right, so next up after that, you're gonna want to have the ball joint facing up. So just put it down like that, and we're gonna connect, in a sense, the dark green one with this, and with that, we're gonna, so for example, remember, ball joint up. We're gonna connect these 2, connect it like that, and then from the back, just connect the remaining 4, or the next 4, leaving 2 spaces open. So it's gonna be like this. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. Again, the bottom should be flat, and then this should have, you know, kind of think of it like a Mario, where you gotta jump the block. So it should be something like this. Going on to page 2, which is gonna get a little bit more crazy from what it looks like. Again, we're gonna find this block from the first one. Now the little big block. And it looks like we're gonna repeat some of the same parts from the other one as well. We're gonna grab another medium-sized 2. Find the one with the 2 studs. And then we're gonna find another flat rectangle, or I guess square, sorry, a flat square, which again, which you guys probably cannot see. This is part 3. See, this is what's kind of hard when you have a really big booklet. The booklets are usually not this long. I like them when they're sideways instead, but since this is a big one, this is what we're gonna do. So, but this is step 3, so I apologize for that. And then we're gonna get a dark green one that's a 2x3. We're gonna get another big rectangle, the big one, kind of again following the same steps as before. So for this one, we are going to, let's see. So now for step number 3, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the dark green block. Again, I'll move this piece. So grab this one, and then we're gonna grab the 4 and connect it to the top, just like this. Again, you'll see some gap right there. And for this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the big one right here, and we're gonna connect it to these spots. Just do this one first so that everything else is a lot simpler. Now grab the 1 stud, and we're gonna connect it to this one, not the one on top, but the bottom one. And it should look something like that. And then finally the 2 stud one, and it should look something like this. Everything should, in a sense, be connected except for one stud, okay? And that's step number 3. All right, next up, we're gonna get to these long rectangles. They have 2 open studs, just like this. You do have multiple other ones that have two, but you want the ones that are open. These should be the only ones that have open. Step number 4 requires 2 of them, and the picture is a little bit confusing in this part, but I'll show you guys exactly how to do this. So what you want to do is you want to grab the one that has the ball joint, and you want to have it like this, where the green one is open to your left, and then the ball joint is facing to your right. Now we're going to grab this piece, the one that we just did for step 3, and we're actually going to connect these two. So get the one that has the open top part facing, I guess, up instead of down, and we're just going to connect them just like that. So again, they should fit in just perfectly. We're not connecting anything, we're just putting them together, if that makes sense. So hopefully you guys can find this and do it like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect it to the first 3, and once again we're going to do the first 3 in the middle, and it should look something like this. The only one that should be, I guess, facing up is, I guess, like a little bit higher than the norm should be this one, but then it should be on par to those. So hopefully this is making sense at the moment. It's still not the sturdiest, but you know, we're kind of getting there now. So now going on to step 5, again, we're going to get the giant square, I guess, that's up. And again, same pieces is what it seems. We're going to get the medium size rectangle over here with the 2 studs. And then we're going to get another dark green one, the 3x2. And we're going to get the large rectangle, the 2x3 as well. So same thing. Let's see what we can do. I just noticed that we actually need 3 of the large ones, of these dark green ones. So not necessarily the other one. So look, so we're just gonna connect them just like that. We're gonna do 2 to the side, and then this one's gonna be laying flat like this, which is gonna make all of them, you know, create a nice square over here. And what's going to end up happening is, let's see, how can we connect these first? Let's grab the big one to try to ensure the place. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, but we're not going to use any of them in the first one right now, so don't even connect it. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 and 4, and we're going to connect it right here, just like that. So you should have something like this. You should have 4 to the 4 studs to the left and 4 studs to the right, and then you should have 2 next to the one that we just connected, and then a full row of 4 at the bottom. The last one's not gonna have anything on it. All right, so now we're gonna grab this little tower with the stud, and we're gonna put it in the second line right there. So not the top one, but the second one. So if you're starting to see the pattern, the outer layers of this entire rectangle / square is gonna have open studs. So it should be something like this, where all the entire row on top is studless, I guess, or has a stud. The top first row is all studs, and then we got the bottom one as well, where it's all just studs. So it should look something like this at the end of step 5. Now for step 6, we got to get one of these again, little large rectangle shapes that have 2 open studs on them, and we're gonna end up connecting the middle studs from the part that we just built and the last set of rows of studs. So it should be looking something like this at the end of step 6. Again, hopefully we're going not too fast for everyone, you know, because again, I don't know if this could be kids watching this or just in general someone who's just, you know, likes to do them a lot slower. Again, this is where you guys should let me know, like, hey, you go a little bit too fast, you may want to slow down a bit. By all means, just let me know, okay? Moving on to step number 7, we're going to get these little smaller rectangles that have 2 studs. These are the closed ones, okay? Look at the difference. These 2 are just closed. We're going to need 2. We're going to need 2 of the same rectangles, but these are larger and these have 3 studs instead. And just to keep an eye out for these are the ones that are closed studs. There should be a couple, maybe like 2 of them that have an open one, like open studs. I can't really see. Oh, okay, I do see them at the moment, but these are the ones that are closed. Okay, just keep in mind 7, that's what it says over here. You guys can't see it, but get the ones that have the closed studs. And then we're gonna get 2 of the flat squares, so 2x2s in a sense. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna end up building, I believe, what looks like 2 identical pieces. So we're gonna grab the stud with the 3. Let me move these away. With the 3 studs, and then put a 2 on it. So make a giant line like a stud of 5 in a sense. And then now the bottom of this square, we're gonna connect it to the last one of the 3rd rectangle and the first one of the 2nd of just the 2 studs. So it should look something like this. Obviously a little bit more straight, but it should be something like this. That's the first part for part 7. Now for part 2, it looks to be the same thing. So we'll just do the same thing, but we're just gonna flip it. I believe so. So again, first one from the 3rd stud, and then the first one from that. And now what we're just gonna do is we're just gonna flip 1, and it should be something like this. You guys should be able to see at step 7. Now let's see, how are we gonna combine these? All right, so now here's a little correction that I just caught myself doing. So for one of them, for example, let's do this one. The picture tells us to have this facing the other way, but we're actually going to want to be facing it down, if that makes sense. So you should have 2 studs and then the block and then 1 stud open. Now for that one, we're going to connect it to the last 2 of the dark green one. And you should have something like this, looking just like that. Now for the other one, it should be normal, just like as the picture. You should have 2 studs and 1 stud with it facing forward, and it should fit just perfectly just like this. So this is how so far your progress should be looking like. If you flip it, it should all be identical, like 1 on 1. It's like these are the holes, these are in a sense are full-on studs. So everything should be vice versa to each other. If you were to cut it in half, it should be the same thing. I'm hoping this is making sense at this point. Next on up, we're gonna get the 2, I'm pretty sure, remaining of these large, medium-sized rectangles have the 2 open studs. These should be your last ones, at least that I can see for the moment. And we're gonna get a large rectangle / square over here, the 2x3, the one that we've been using this entire time. And for this one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect one of these to this side, to the right side of it. And we're gonna connect this side that we just attached to the middle part right here. So again, look, 1, 2. So if you count this entire line, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna end up using 3, 4, and 5 to be connected just like that. Place it down. Just a heads up, going back a little to the past, this is from the future. I saw that I messed up on one of them, and I said put this one, the 2 open stud, on this side over here where it's going to be closing it. You'd actually want to put it in the middle here. I don't know if you guys kind of caught that and you guys were like, whoa, you're messing up. So it should be something looking like this, which I do apologize. You should have an opening of 3 studs. So again, just a heads up on that. Apologize. I most likely catch it on step 13 when I start putting in these blue things. So just a heads up on that. It should just be looking something like this. I use one of the 2 studs to cover the 3 studs over here, but you actually want to cover the middle one and have an open 3 stud at the end. So I do apologize for that. Keep in mind, I catch it in like 3 to 4 steps from there. So just in case if you're wondering, sorry about that. Next up, we're gonna get this one, the little rectangle that has 2 closed studs. Remember, 2 closed. And we're gonna go over to step number 9. And we're actually gonna be finding 2 of these parts, as you guys can see here. These are the ones from the bag that had no numbers. As you guys can see, it should be like the back parts. Should be something like this. They have a stud towards the end. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to face the one with the ball joint facing forward. So on top, just like that. And what we want, look, keep in mind that there's multiple ways you can have this. So try to look at the picture here, how they're facing. And I know it's a little bit confusing, but the way you're going to be able to tell that you're doing it right is if you can tell, look, face it like this, right? One of them is larger and the other one is a lot shorter. So what you want to do is you want to flip it to where the one that's longer is on top and the one shorter is at the bottom. At that point, we're just going to connect it to the side. So now from that, we're going to connect it to these three. And this gap should close this. So again, just go over like this and boom. That in a sense covers this hole that's missing. And again, top one is the one that's longer. The bottom one should be the one that's shorter. Now we're going to do the same process. Have the stud facing this way just like that. And again, longer one is on top. Shorter one is at the bottom. And this is going to close this gap. And it should look something like this. This is the end of step number 9. And forgot to mention this on step 9, which I do apologize. We forgot to use the 2 stud one that goes right in the middle. Forgot to mention that. Sorry, apologize. Step number 10 is going to consist of these 2 that I kind of like to call shoes in a sense, but these don't really look like shoes. It's just, they're like upside down V's if you really look at them like this. This is the ones that I like to use. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up covering these 2 sides. I guess 3. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it. They're all going to, you know, if you do it this way or if you do it the other way, I think it should be still the same. But, no, actually, yeah. Actually, this is going to be a little bit, so you should notice that one of them is a little bit smaller than the other one. This part's a lot larger and this one's a bit shorter. You want to be using the shorter side on top so that it's able to connect just like that. Because again, if you do the big side, it's going to look a little bit uneven. See, it's still not holding on good, which is what I don't really like. Maybe I shouldn't be picking it up as much. So again, we're going to just grab the one that's a little bit shorter, I guess smaller. We're going to connect it just like that. But then, yeah, that should also be the end of step 10. So for part 11 here, we're going to be using these 2 small ones again that have the 2 studs. They're closed. And now these are the ones that I like to call shoes. Now in this one, you can see more shoes. But look, there's 2 types of those. You'll see that these are bigger. The other ones are a lot smaller than that, and those are the ones that you don't want to use. You want to use the one that are a little bit bigger. You'll probably be able to notice that they're not going to fit possibly, but again, you want to use the bigger ones. You should only have 2 of these small ones anyways. Well, actually, you have multiple, or actually, yeah. So you do have multiple of those, but they're kind of opened, if you know what I mean. Look. And those are the ones that you don't want to use at the moment. And these closed shoes, there's only 2 of them. So again, you want to use the bigger one. And you want 4 of those, as you guys can see from there. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up putting 2 of them kind of fitting like shoes. You know what I mean? It should look something like this where it's all flat at the bottom. And that's probably what, like, you'll notice that the other ones don't fit right. So again, just do that. Oh. And I can probably tell you guys can hear my fridge at this moment. And maybe that's why I should have turned it off. So I do apologize for that. I'll shut it off right now. But again, 2 pieces just like that. And what you want to do is, doesn't matter which one you choose, just make sure to fill a square, put it on the ground. If not, if you pick it up, it's gonna end up breaking it. But there you go. So far you should have something looking like this. Next up, moving on to step number 12. Again, we're gonna grab the big, you know what I want to call shoes, so the bigger ones, and we're gonna use 2 of the medium-sized 2 studs. So the bigger part ones. I guess medium ones. Sorry. I know it gets very confusing, but it's the medium ones, okay? You'll be able to tell which ones they are. So next on up, again, what I like to call the smaller side. Could be different for you guys, but they should fit in just like that. And again, everything should be all smooth. There shouldn't be any open parts or anything. Look, let's just try it out, but it's actually not going to fit if you put it the other way. So it should only fit one way. Hopefully this is making sense. It's like there's only one way that it's going to make it all flat, where everything just kind of, you know, boom. Nothing sticking out. Obviously, we're making, you know, think of it like sliced pizzas. So now, with these, we're going to end up closing the other squares. So just choose whichever one you want. Again, these are, you know, whichever way you want to use them, they'll be the same way. So just make sure they fit and that it's all looking pretty nice at this point. And now finally, it looks like we're going to be working with the blue pieces that we have over here. So we should have 4 of them. Now this is where it might get a little bit hard because it's like, uh-oh. So from what I'm starting to notice, there are 2 pieces that have 1 line and then 2 of them that have 2 of them. If you guys can see what I'm picking up over here. So now let's see how we're going to do this, because this is where it's getting a little bit confusing because we don't know really what's happening over here. All right, so after some quite looking at it, this part's kind of confusing, I'm not going to lie. But this is the way that I'm going to end up doing this. So look, let's get the ones, and I don't think it really matters, but let's get the ones that just has 1 line, okay? Notice that they're going to have different openings in one side. So the one that has opening over here, use that as your left, and then use the other one that's on the right. And again, they should be pointing up, okay? They should be pointing up just like that. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to connect this to your first one just like that, I think. So again, just like that. You should have a little opening right there. Remember, we're still working the one that just has 1 line, and make sure this one's facing to the right. And we're going to connect to the first 3. All right, so now we're going to use the one that has 2 lines, and we're actually going to make them facing down. Again, same thing. The openings are going to be to the left, and the openings are going to be to the right. And we're just going to be closing these 3. And I'm pretty sure this is how you're going to do this, because again, if you flip it like this, it still makes the same shape. So even if you put these 2 on top, it's still going to look the same. You see what I'm trying to say here? So look, we're flipping it. Still, the main line is in the middle. 1 line, middle. So if you flip it, same thing, right? Again, this is how, I guess, the front of the stomach should be looking, because it looks like for the next one, we're going to be turning it to the back. Now for step 14, hopefully we're not messing up, because I know we just caught that mistake for from part 13 all the way to from like part 9. Next up, we're going to need one of these small little rectangles that has 2 open studs on both sides. So you'll notice that this one has openings or 2 studs on the front side and the back side, which make it kind of irrelevant because doesn't matter which side you choose, but they should be open studs, okay? Now we're going to go for the square again, but this square is going to have studs in the back as well. So if you can see it from the side, it should have double studs on each side. So don't use the regular one that we've been using, because remember, those are closed studs. These are open studs, which, you know, you can see through. So what's going to end up happening for this one is we're going to flip it over like we mentioned. And we're going to end up using the small one. Again, doesn't matter which one, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get closed anyways. We're going to do it on the middle one, if you're catching my drift on that one. And then doesn't matter which one for the square, we're going to close it. And eventually you should just have 2, I guess one side opening to your left and another opening to your right. So you can actually swap these. It doesn't really matter, but we're just going through the instructions, and that's how it does it, where you're going to have 2 openings in each side. Or I guess 1 in each side, right? Making it 2 openings. Next up, we're gonna find 2 of these little right triangles, is kind of like what I like to call them. That's what they looked like to me, right triangles, after, you know, using all these in math. But I was bad in geometry, but did really well in calculus apparently. So go figure on that, right? We're gonna need 2 of those right triangles, and we're gonna need 2 of the double-sided studs again, the ones we used in the last step. Remember, this is step 15. We're gonna use 2 of them, and we're gonna find these odd, maybe obtuse slash something triangles. Again, they have openings, 2 studs. They should form something like this if you really connect them. Odd shapes, but you should definitely know which ones they are. You'll be able to find them quickly. But for this, what you want to do, you want to grab the piece that once you flip it, because again, they're going to be different, where the end of this one should be going higher up to your right. Because if you see this one, the lowest point is going to the left. So we want to flip it and get to where the lowest point is going to the right. Because at that point, we're going to connect one of these double studs to the top part of it. So that's when you'll definitely know that you chose the right one as well. All right, so once you connect it to that part, again, looking at 15, you're going to want to put this one with the slope facing down. You want this part to be, look, the top part facing, or the lowest point going down, going to the right, and then the small little right triangle, you want the slope going, I guess, on top, if you guys are catching my drift, you know? So it should be going top-wise, and that's for that one. Now for the other one, once you connect the 2 studs and the pointy top is facing on top, what you want to do is you want to put the small right triangle to the far right, and you want the slope facing down. The slope on the other one was facing up, but for this one, you want it facing down. Now, what you want to do after you built this one, the one we just last built, you want to connect it to the corner of that square right there. Again, connect it to the top. Now, keep in mind that you may have some issues with this. Trust me, I had to redo this again, which, again, I literally said hopefully we don't have any issues. But I caught it once again, and this should be the right way to do this. The right stud should be on top, and then you should have 2 studs facing down, not the ones on top. Okay? It's a little bit weird, I know. It's going to get hectic, but it should be something like this. Again, you should have 2 studs. Make sure the bottom one is facing the top stud from the first row, and you should be good at that point. But it should be looking something like this, where this slope should be going to the left, and then this slope should be going to the right. Now, I'll fix it right now if there is an issue, but so far, this might be it where this looks flat. All right, so hopefully, you know, we got through 15. I feel like 15 was a little bit rough, but I promise we'll get better from that point. Still a lot of pieces. So moving on to 16, we're going to need 2 of these small squares that have a stud on top of it. We're going to need a double stud rectangle. We're going to need this part that's like a shoe, but has a sort of a triangle looking. Again, you should have 2 of these, so it doesn't matter which one you choose. And from that point, we're going to grab a 3 stud rectangle. And it's a short one. And then we're going to get a flat rectangle that's a 2x3. Okay, 2x3. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the 2x3 square rectangle. Sorry, I get those confused a lot. I don't know why. But we're going to connect the 3 stud to the left side. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of the 1 studs and connect it to the middle of the next row. So you should have something like this at the moment. Should be looking like this, right? And from that point, we're going to connect the 2 stud onto the middle part right here, where it should be something like this. We're going to connect the 1 stud on top over here, just like that. So you should be having like a mini tower, if you can see it like that. Okay. Now this is where we're going to grab this part. We're going to connect it to the top, and then the bottom part should connect to the bottom. Should be having something like this. Yeah, it's quite a mess, but wasn't too bad. Not too terrible. Once we build this part for part 16, you want to connect it to the first row. So connect it to the first row. And you should see that all this is starting to line up pretty good with the triangle facing down. You should have a row of 4, a row of 4 with the middle thing right here. That makes sense. Trust me, I had to back down once again, which I'm apologizing. I don't know why this thing is tricking me up so much, but it really is. And I'm trying to get kind of confused. I'm kind of annoyed. I'm like, really, dude? It's really confusing me that long. Now, step 17. Grab the one with the 2 open studs, and we're going to close it just like this. Close the top part. Make sure nothing falls apart. So let's put it facing, or I guess laying down. Just do the front part just like that. And now this is where the shoes comes in, where it doesn't matter which one you choose, but the top part is going to fill the top, and then the bottom is going to get the bottom. So it should be looking something like this, where you should have 3 open studs at the bottom and then 2 open studs on top on each side. Making sense? Good. All right, so now moving on to step 18. Hopefully we're not making too many mistakes, because trust me, I've had to backtrack a few times, and it's kind of like, bruh, really? So we're going to grab 2 of these that have, I guess, I like to call them smiley faces. I don't know why. They have like a big giant gap in the middle. You know what I mean? And 2 studs on each side. So middle has a gap. We need 2 of those. Again, we need one of these little square towers that has 1 stud. Try to remember where the camera is, because I know sometimes I'm like right here. I'm like, nope, it's got to be right here, dude. Right there. And we're going to get a medium-sized rectangle with 2 studs, okay? So now it seems a little bit, chiller, which is cool. Now what we're going to do first is we're going to get the 2 stud and cover 2 of these holes. And grab the 1 tower and cover the other side. So we should have something, covered. In a sense, still open studs, but higher. Next up, we're going to get to these open spots. Not the actual bricks themselves, but the ones at the bottom. And you want to close it. Again, have the open spot face away from the body. So we're going to close it just like that. Having it like that. Now do the same thing for the other side. Opening away from the body. We're going to close it and stick it in there. It should be something like that. Again, it should fit in right perfectly, because there is a hole right there. So the smiley faces are making a difference. Next up, we're going to get 2 of the medium-sized rectangles again, the 2 studs. And we're going to grab a big dark green 2x3 rectangle over here. So now for this one, we're going to end up connecting right in the middle of right next to this one right there. So it should be something like this. Now the 2 other studs, you want to do them to the top parts. Again, this is the top part right there. And we're not, see, you would think that you just want to close it like that, right? But you actually want to close the top gap instead, not the bottom. So you should be having something like this. Think of it as like bunny ears, or I guess ears on the sides, and this is like a face. These are your 2 eyes, and these are the ears, right? You'll have an opening there. So that's 19. Next up for step 20, we need a 3 rectangle, 3 stud, and then we're going to get, once again, And remember, make sure it's the closed ones, right? Because it's telling us on 20 right there that it's not the open ones, but it's the closed ones. And then next up, we're going to get the double-sided stud, small little rectangle on both sides, just like that. And we need 2 of those. So now what's going to end up happening is the third, the one that has 3, we're going to cover this top part. Oof. See, this is what kind of sucks, that it's not really sticking all that well at the moment. I know once we close it, it's going to be all good. But for the moment, we're going to put the 2 studs into the one parts that we just put in. So it doesn't matter which one, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get closed. You know, like which side, because this side technically has an opening. The other one is closed, right? So just put it in, and there you go. Something just like that. In a sense, we're just building off of it, you know, for it to get higher. That's the end of step 20. Moving on to step 21. Once again, the 3-stud rectangle. And we're going to grab 2 of the medium-sized rectangles with 2 studs. And what we're going to end up doing for this one is the 3-stud. Again, put it onto the 3-stud we just put on as well. So it should look something like that. And then the 2 studs that we just rectangles, we're going to do that actually at the bottom where we put the smiley faces ones. Put them just like that. And all right, we're making a lot more progress now, and this is kind of what you should be having. This is the end of 21. Step number 22, we're going to get one of the 2x3s rectangles, ones that are a little bit, you know, bigger. And we're going to grab the same shape, but just a different color, the lighter greens as well. So you should have these 3. And we're going to stick it again to the back, because that's literally what we're doing. So we're going to get the dark green one, and we're going to, in a sense, match it to where this next one is. So they should be identical. And now this one should be covering the remaining pieces on your right side and on your left side as well. Put it in just like that, and then at least these parts should all be matching up, you know, as in height-wise. Something just like that. Again, we just added this one right now, and then we added those 2. So it should all be smoothed out and, you know, leveled, from at least from these points, correct? Next up, we're going to get a flat square, but this is the dark green one. We're going to grab a flat rectangle, a 2x3, the lighter green. And then we're going to get the same rectangle, but this one's going to have open studs. But these are not going to be closed. You literally only have one of these. So this should be the only piece that you have that are open. That's a 2x3. And what we're going to do for this one is we're going to grab the square. We're going to get this one, and we're going to put it right in the middle, just the middle of this. So you should have 2 openings on each side. And now this one, you're going to come in and you're going to close the studs. And you should have something like this, where it's the studs, it's a level, and then it dips to the bottom. Okay? Again, connect this one to the middle, and then you'll see it all clearly from that point. At that point, we're just going to connect this to the middle as well. You'll see that it should be the same on both sides. Just stick it to the middle, and you should have a similar gap to the sides. If you don't have a similar gap, it means you probably are not exactly in the middle, and then you can just take it off and realign it just right in the middle. That's the end of part 23. Next up for part number 24, again, we're going to get the little rectangles with studs on both sides. We've been using these already, so you should know what these are. And once again, we're going to use the squares that also have studs on both sides. 2 of those as well. But what you want to do is get the 2 one and put it right in the middle of these green blocks. So just like this. Just like that. Get the other one and cover the other green block. Just like that. Now, once you connect both of these, what you want to do is grab the square ones, and you want to basically cover it as much as you can go. We're not going to cover the entire thing. So it should be looking like this. Again, just go up to as much as you can. you know, before you are stopped right there. And then you plug those in. You should have holes, I guess, openings on top. And those are going to get filled later down the road anyway. So you should be good at this moment. So looking like this, you know, this is where we connect them. These are the 4. Next up, we're going to get these double-sided, again, studs, both sides. The ones we literally just used in the last step. We need 4 of these. Now what we're going to do is we're going to end up covering these open spots down here. So check this out. We're going to put it in there, right there. Now we're going to cover this part right here. You should still have the same opening as on top. Once again, go to this side, cover that side, just like that. And then this side, we're going to cover this block. Bingo, bango. Moving on to step 26, we're going to need these right triangle with 2 studs on top. We used we used these before already, so these shouldn't be too weird. We need 2 of those, and then we need one of the giant rectangles as well with the 3 studs by 2. So what's going to end up happening to this one is we're going to put this actually right in the middle right here. It's going to end up covering both of these. So yes, there's only 1 stud, but it's going to end up covering both of those. So it should be something like this. Just put it in there and it should connect pretty awesome. Now what's going to end up happening with these, with the 2 studs, you want to cover the top part. You don't want to cover the bottom one. Just go on the top part. And it should look something like this. Again, should all be identical, right? We're covering this part right here. Next up for step number 27, we need 2 of these closed rectangles. 2 of the closed, remember? We've been working with the double-sided, but we just want one-sided with 2 studs. You want a flat square, and then you want the 2x3 rectangle, again, flat as well. And what's going to end up happening for this is we're going to end up covering 2 on this side, closer to the green one. Again, just do it on the other side as well. Just like that. And we're going to use the square, and we're going to cover this basically. Cover that square once as well, and then we're going to use the 3x2 and we're going to cover the other side now. So we should basically be filling in all those empty spaces right there. Next up, we're going to get the 3 studs rectangles. We need 2 of them, and we need the larger shoes, the ones we've been using again. Again, you'll be able to tell if you're using the wrong ones, but we're still using the same ones that we've been using from before, okay? And now for this, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up closing this gap on top of the shoe. So you should, in a sense, have this level, except this has 2 studs, right? So again, other side, put it on top. And there you go. And then with the 3 studs, we're going to end up covering the bottom sides to make this all leveled. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're making some progress. All right, so we did have a rough start, but we're making some progress, okay? Let's go. We got this. Next up for step number 29, we're going to get a flat square, just a regular flat. And the next one, we're going to get 2 squares that have studs on both sides. Again, we've been using these. You need 2 of these, and you just need 1 of the regular flat one, okay? And we're going to get 2 of these that have 2 studs and what I like to call hands. This is where the ball joints are going to go in. So you need 2 of those as well. All right, so the way that I'm doing this is, look, we're going to grab the ball joint hands, make it to where the opening is in there. And it doesn't matter which side you choose, but get the one that has the double-sided joints, and we're going to stick it to that one. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the regular square and we're going to put it on top of that part. Yes, there should be a gap just like this, okay? Now we're going to use the other 2-sided, I guess, double-sided studs, cover that part, and then we're going to cover this part as well. So you should have something like this, which I'm assuming this might be used for the hands or maybe legs. But you should have something looking like this where there's a gap in the middle. You know, it goes up and then down. And that's how you should be having this part. And what's going to happen is this part, because again, there's a gap there, right? And remember, this is leveled right here. So it looks like we're doing this good. We're just gonna connect it to this part down right there. Just squeeze it and boom. Yep. Seems like this is gonna be like the leg parts. So we're doing good, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to step 30. We're gonna need again two studs rectangles, just the one-sided. And now finally, we're gonna use the 2 shoes that are the smaller ones, not the bigger ones. This time we're actually gonna get the other ones that we were not meant to be using. Again, step 30 should show you right there. Now you use the small ones. And then you want to get the same triangle one, I guess shoe. Same size actually as those, but this one has a triangle going that way. Kind of the one that we used over here, okay? Hopefully we can still see that. That one, and then we need a large dark green block, okay? And what's gonna end up happening for this one, so we're gonna grab the green one and we're just gonna match it to where this one's at. Obviously this one's gonna be a little bit taller. And from there, we're gonna grab the 2 ones and we're gonna put it at the bottom. We're not gonna cover the top part. So again, from these, go to the second one. And you should have 3 studs, I guess 4 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4 open that are not leveled. And so now once we're done with those, we're gonna use the one with the triangle. We're going to connect it. In a sense, these 2 are going to somewhat be touching, but not quite. Because, again, these are going to be like what scales are, right? And, again, we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other 2 sides. And you should have something just like that. Again, the block we just put, it should be untouched. And the bottom one should be covered by these 3 that we just put. And that's step 30. Next up for 31, I did lie. There is another piece of these, of rectangles that has open studs. I said there was only 1, but there's actually 2 of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to need this, and then we're also going to need a little square that has 1 stud on top of it as well. So we've been using this one. But anyways, the large rectangle, we're actually going to close these studs right here. So you close them, and then the 1 dot, we're going to put it right in the middle of that stud we just put. On the top middle. Ow, that actually hurt. But you should have it just like that. Put it right in the middle of it. And then we're chilling at this point. This is the end of 31. All right, so now we're on step 32. So for this, we're going to need one of the squares with the stud. We're also going to need one of the rectangles that has open studs, okay? Keep in mind that there is one that has closed studs, but we want the ones with the open studs. Then we're going to get the same one, but the one that has double studs on both sides. You guys can see there's studs on both sides. Again, it's all 3. We're going to need this little tower square that has a stud on top, followed by 2 of the medium size 2 studs, squares, triangles, rectangles. Dude, like, okay, I know, quick little rant, but like sometimes shapes can be very confusing because like this can technically be a square, but it's also like a rectangle, if you know what I mean. I know, whatever though. It's probably just me though. It's probably just me. But what we're gonna do is we need to get the dark green brick, and what we need is to get one of the 2 studs. We're gonna place it on the far right, and then we're gonna get the 1 tower, 1 stud, and we're gonna place it on top of it, just like that. All right, from what it looks like, we're gonna grab the other piece and we're gonna put it in just like that in the middle. So it's kind of like it's kind of making like cross, like a semi-cross, but you want to do it in the middle right there. Now from that point, what we're going to do is we're going to get the double-sided studs and we're going to put this right here. We're basically going to make this to be tight. It's going to be a little bit hard of a press, but it should be something like this. In a sense, you're just adding another layer on top of it. And at that point, we're going to do the single square with the stud at the far left. Damn. Okay. Now keep in mind we still have the other stud with the brick with the 3 studs, but for right now, what it seems like we're gonna do is we're gonna get now these 3 here are gonna go in to the bottom part of here. Now the way that I have it is should be look something like this from the back, where you know you're using the front, I guess. Well, okay, so depending on which way you're looking at it, if you're looking with this thing facing to your left, we're just going to be using the first ones right here. So you just flip it, or excuse me, go like this, and then plug it in right here. Obviously, it makes sense as just that way, because if you do it the other way, it's not going to fit. You know what I mean? So you want to do it where it's actually going to fit, and it's going to be pretty simple at that point. Now, at this point, this is where we're going to get the 3 stud, and we're just going to cover it up, in a sense, locking it into place. You know what I mean, jelly bean? And this is how 32 should be done. Next on up, we're going to be working with the right triangles again, but these have 2 studs. And again, we're going to be using the shoes, which I think at this point now should be the only ones that are left. You still have the ones, but those have holes on the sides. So you just want to be using these. Again, it'll tell you, you know, which ones to use, which ones not to use. But once again, we're going to flip them into, you know, you using the back side. Because again, this is just the belly right here, right? So now into the back. And what we're going to do is kind of like before. Now on this little opening, we're going to do the ones with the studs. And do it vice versa on the other side as well. Plug those in. And now with the, what I like to call the shoes, we're going to do it to the middle one. Plug those in. And they should fit in right pretty freaking good, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Step 33. For step 34, now we're going to be using these 3 long shoes, as I like to call them. They're the only ones that have these blue markings on it. So, you know, it shouldn't be too hard. And you can literally space them out like that, and it'll tell you which one you have to use. And I think this might actually be the way to do it anyways. So just look at the block, or excuse me, at the manual, and you'll be able to see exactly where to put them. So first one, we're gonna have to go like that, and then trust me, you'll know if you're doing it wrong or right, because the one that has the most blue is the middle one, clearly. And if you were to put this one over here, it's not gonna match. You see what I'm trying to say? So you'll know exactly where they fit, but you just put all 3 of them in the middle of the back, and that's how you do 34. Next up, 35, we're gonna get 2 dark green plain squares. And we're also gonna get one of these medium size 2x3 rectangles as well. And for this one, what we're gonna do is we wanna put the square. Okay, look, you see this entire strip right there? What you wanna do is you don't wanna put the squares on that one, but you wanna put it on the ones next to it. So aside from it, right? Put those in there, and then that's where this block is gonna come in, and you're gonna cover all this, locking it into place. So towards the end, you should have 2 studs open at the sides. Step 36, what we're gonna need is what I like to call the hands, or I guess you can call it a Y as well. And then we're gonna use the little tower stud, which I believe at this point, this tower thing is the last one. It's got 1 stud and last one, so there you go. Anyways, we're gonna be working on that same piece where we just kind of finished doing this. Well, actually next to it, right? Because you'll see that there's 3 studs, 2 open, 1 closed. What we want to do is get the tower, place it on the first open stud. It might take a little, you know, squeezing in there, but eventually you'll get it. So, and then get the little arm / Y. We're gonna plug it into the open hole, and then there you go. That is 36. Step 37 requires 3 of the squares with the studs, so make sure you grab 3 of them. And then we're going to get the little rectangle that has 3 studs on it as well. And then we need 3 of the shoes. Again, these are all the givens that we need to use. We've been using these for a long time. And make sure that the 3 stud one is the one with the closed and not the open one. So for this one, what we're gonna do, as you guys can see here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab one of the small ones and a shoe. We're just gonna put it underneath it, which is gonna make it into what seems like a right triangle. You see what I'm trying to say? So at this point, we're gonna get the front shoe of it, and we're just gonna, you know, do this. For the second one, we're just gonna use just the plain one. We're not gonna attach anything to it. We're just gonna stick it in front, make it match, and that's it. Again, we're not putting it into the back of that one. Now for the third one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna build, or I guess put one of the squares into the last stud that's available in that rectangle. And for the third one, I kind of got ahead of myself and I actually put the square with the stud in the back of this one. So again, we're just repeating the one that we did on the first one, except this time there's a, you know, a square stud on top. So should be looking a little bit taller than the other ones, okay? So don't be freaking out if you see and you're like, what the heck is going on? This is how this is supposed to be regardless. So again, the one to your left is supposed to be taller than the other ones. Take a look at the video, just in case if you are having difficulties, but just like that. So what's gonna end up happening now is we're gonna attach these just like that to this, you know, to these remaining studs right there. And in a sense, we're gonna try to, you know, make it all level where there's no studs popping out in this corner anymore. And from what I'm assuming, we're gonna do the same thing for 38 and now just do it on the others. Again, same as 37 for step 38. We're gonna grab 3 of the square with the studs. We're gonna grab a rectangle with 3 studs again, closed, and the same 3 shoes that we've been using for the other ones. So again, we're gonna follow the steps. Now again, grab the shoe, grab the square, put it at the bottom, completing the shoe / making the heel. And then we're gonna grab the 3 studs. And for this one, go to the far left. We're gonna do it just like that. Now for the middle one, we're not gonna connect anything to the back. We're just gonna connect it to the front, making it look just like that. And now for the last one, to the far right, we're gonna connect one of the square studs, put it in there, and then do the same thing as we did on the first one. Complete the shoe, and we're gonna put it on top. And once again, we're gonna go over to this part. We're gonna complete what seems to be the entire back. You should have something looking like this. All right, step 39, and don't freak out on this one because I looked at it, I was like, oh no, I messed up. I was holding it like this. I'm like, it says I'm supposed to connect this piece now, which I'm pretty sure for this one is the only piece that looks like this. Look at it. Think of it as the broken egg. Like this is what the bottom of the egg looks like. All right, so now we're gonna flip it back to the original state. We're gonna show the stomach, and then you'll see that there's 3 levels right here, right? Small, medium, and large. So now we're gonna grab the broken eggshell, and we're just gonna put it in the middle one. Well, make sure you have it in the right way. Because first of all, just make sure you have the connectors open, and there you go. We're kind of finishing the crotch at this point. Next up, for step 40, we're gonna get the double-sided 2 pegs, studs. You know what I mean? These, we only want one of those. Now we're gonna be playing with some new ones in this one. So these, I like to call the pizza blocks. They look like pizzas to me, that's why. So you'll see that you have about 4 of these. You need 2 of those. And then you have 2 of these bent, broken, not necessarily broken, but like I guess bent bricks with 2 studs. Only grab 1 of those, and then we're gonna grab another / pizza part. You have 2 of these as well, so just grab 1 of them. It's not the one that looks like an egg, not this one, but the one that's a lot smaller. And it looks like we're gonna be playing patty cake on these. So Grab the 2 pizzas, stick them together, make into double stuffed pizza. And now at this point, grab the bent one. You're going to connect it to the sides, which should look something like this at the moment. From that point, you want to flip it to the back side. And I know it's going to sound a little bit weird, but we're actually going to connect these 2 studs towards the top left-hand corner. Now, I know that looks a little bit weird, but just trust. That's what you got to do. Now, you grab this part. We're going to close it up just like that. So we should have a hole on one of the sides. And basically for 41, we're going to do the same thing, but kind of flip it the other way. And then this hole should be on the left side, depending on which way. But yet, we're still not going to connect this because we still need the other part. So let's skip on over to 42. Don't connect it. Just leave it there at the moment. Again, same pieces for 41. The double studs on both sides. The 2 pizzas. The bent brick. And the other taller slash something pizza. So for this one, we're going to do the same thing. Double stuff the pizza. Bingo, bango. Now use the bent one. Cover the 2 sides on each one. Just like this. But remember, now we're going to be, sticking it to the left side. So now we're going to swap it, or I guess flip it the other way. And now instead of doing it on the left side, we're going to do it on the right side corners. So just do the opposite of what you did on the other one. And then now we're just going to close the pizza. And then, like I said, the hole should be on the left side now. So you should have 2 identical parts like this, except they have an opening in a different location. Now, before you do anything for 42, now this is where we're going to need both of the eggshell parts. I'm calling these eggshells. I don't know what else you would call them. But it seems like this is what we're going to do to connect these, the ones that we just built for 40 and 41. So from what I saw, grab the belly. Make sure this is where the head, where the ball joint is. You want to flip it over to where the crotch area is. Now we're going to grab one of these. Now, for example, this one, I'm grabbing the one that has, I guess, the hole to the left. So it's the recent one that we just made. And what we're going to do for this one is you're going to flip it to the back as well. You want to make sure that the hole is facing to the left. And we're going to use this stud to plug it into the tower right there. As you guys can see this one. So again, just use this one. Stick it in there. You should be good. I had a little accident where this kind of popped off, but we should be good. Now grab the other side and make sure that now this hole is facing to your right. And again, use the bottom stud. Use it on the tower. Just plug it in. And just like that. Now what we're going to do, I'm pretty sure at this point it doesn't matter which one you do choose, as they're both are the same thing if you use it like that or cover it like this, same thing. But you just want to close it in. Make sure that the openings are at the bottom. That's where the 2 studs are at. And in a sense, you're covering everything that's left in there. I don't think I could take it out, but you saw what I was trying to do, right? So now it's covering all the holes, and you have something looking like this, which is starting to look really freaking nice, if you ask me. So it's supposed to be like this, right? But now we cover the crotch. And as you can see, seems like we're doing it pretty good. Next up, for these next steps, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to connect anything just yet. It seems like we're going to be building probably a hand or maybe even the legs. So we're not going to connect anything to the body. So for the moment, just put the body away. And we need the 2 rectangles with studs, closed studs as well. Nothing in the back, just 2 closed ones. That's it. And we need a 3x2 rectangle as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of them, connect it to the right side, and then use the other one to make it go on top of it as well. So we're just stacking, in a sense, to one side. And that's 33. Next up, we're going to use a square with the stud. We're actually going to use a new piece now. So it's the same thing, the same square, but it has an open stud, and then it's got this, I don't know what these things are called, maybe like just like a circle on it, but it's identical to the other one, just has an open stud and has a circle on it. We're gonna use a rectangle with the 2 studs. And another new piece, we're gonna use a ball joint one that has 2 studs on it. So what's gonna end up happening on this one is we're going to connect the ball joint one to the bottom part of this. And from this part, we're gonna connect the 2 stud onto the other side. And now we're gonna connect the square to the left side. And then this one, make sure that the circle is facing away from this. And it should look something like this. So this is the ball joint. The circle is facing the other way from the ball joint, okay? So don't make them, actually, it won't even fit, I think, if you put it this way. So you'll know definitely if you're doing it wrong. But this is the end of 44. Next up, again, same 2 studs, the flat one. We're gonna use, I believe, maybe new pieces. I'm not too sure if we used, no, I'm pretty sure we used these already. It's the one that's kind of like the shoe again, but you know, one side is bigger than the other one. Make sure you have one of those. And then I believe this is a new piece. So now it's the same shoe, but it's like super flat. It's like if it got stepped on. So again, just look at the picture. Sorry, I can't have the picture on it. And maybe that's something that I need to improve on, right? So let me know if you need like the actual part that's being used, or I guess the diagram. That'll make it a lot easier for you guys. But hopefully at this point, you know exactly what the pieces that I'm talking about are. So from what it looks like, we're gonna grab this, make sure the ball joint is facing down. We're gonna grab the 2 studs and put it in the middle. So I guess in a sense, connecting it, if it wants to. Just like that. And for these parts, we're gonna grab the slimmer one. We're gonna connect it just like that. Now this next one, we want the top part, you know, the shorter side, I guess smaller side, being like on top. And it should all end up laying down flat and perfect towards the end. Just like that. Again, use the smaller one on top, connect it, and then the bottom should connect to the bottom. And it's all a pretty good joint. Again, we're not connecting anything, so put this to the side as well. Next up for 46, we need the 2 studs again, just a flat one. This time we're going to be using a new piece. So it's a double stud as well, but it's got circles. Now, just be careful because there are 2 separate, I guess identical, but they are still different. Notice the difference that on these, the circles are on top and the circles are at the bottom on this one. Look at the difference. The one that we need are the ones with the circles on top and not the ones at the bottom. So put the ones at the bottom away and now use the one that has a circle on top. And we also need just a flat square. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip over the square. We're going to grab the 2 peg and put it on to one side. Doesn't matter which side because you can, you know, still flip them. Now for the open studs, you're just going to want to open it. Or I guess flip it and then put it in just like that. So it should look something like this. 47, what you want to do is you want the double studs on both sides. And you're going to want it almost the same piece as the one before with the 2 studs open. But now you want the circles facing, or I guess that are lower. And that's going to help with our next step. So for the next one, again, just flip over this if you don't already have it flipped over. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect where the circles are at. Use the circle one as well. And you'll see that it makes this shape, I guess, where it connects the square as well. Now, grab the double-sided stud, and we're going to place it on top of the one we just placed, right? So it looks something like this. So it should look something like this. Sorry if I didn't do this or not, but should have a big gap in the back. Again, we're placing the one just on top of this one. That should just look just like that. Going over to 48. Again, just the square with the stud. We're going to use the other open square stud, but now with the circle on it. We used this one not too long ago. This is a new one as well. It's a 2-stud, but it has a ball joint on it. The usual as always, the flat square. And then we're going to use this double-sided square that has pegs on or studs on both sides. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to get the one with the double-sided pegs. So flip it over. And then this is where it's going to get a little interesting. Grab the 2 studs with the ball joints connected to one side. Now with the other one, grab the square and just put it on the top one. And now grab the one with the circle on it, open stud, and do it at the bottom. And from right there, we're going to close it with the square. So just like that. All right, so now that we got those pieces, grab the one that has the ball joint. Make sure it's facing to the left. Make sure the square is also, the circle to the right. And now we're going to grab the piece that we made from 46 and 47. And we're just going to connect it to the side over here. And it should make this funky design right there. I don't even know what this is. Maybe like a worm or something? I have no clue how to even call this. But you should have something looking like this. Ball joint to the left. Next on up for 49, we're going to grab this, I guess, long right triangle, in a sense. So it's going to look something like this. You only have 2 of these pieces anyways. So what you want to do is just put it over on this side, and it should close it really good. Just like that. Next up, step 50. As always, rectangle with 2 studs. Now we're going to grab both of the shoes again, ones we've been using. It'll tell you again which ones to use and which ones not to. And now this is a new one. So it's a medium rectangle with 2 studs, but also have 2 studs at the side. And they're all open, so you should basically know at that point what that is. Now what we're going to do, grab the 2 studs, and we're going to just fill it in with the top parts. Just like that. These don't have heels, by the way. All right, so don't stick it to the back. Stick it to the front. And what we're gonna end up doing is, all right. So for this next part, you want to be careful. So in the previous part, we ended up putting this part, right, the right triangle. What you want to do is you want to flip it over to the part that has just the square exposed. You don't want to have this part. Go where the square is exposed and it's right next to the ball joint, because this is going to get a little confusing. So for this next part, you want to be using this part that has the rectangle in it, because if you try using this side, this thing's not really going to go in. It just doesn't seem to fit. So you want to be using it just like that. So connect again. Make sure you're using the rectangle part. Back to the back. And you should have something like this. Now at that point, grab the part we just built. We're going to connect it just like that. Now keep in mind that part gave me a little bit confused because it's kind of weird because it has this hole and then this hole. And it's kind of weird because if you look at the picture, you got to have this facing up and one to the side. But it's kind of really weird because it's like, wait, you need to have this down. But if you place it down, then these are facing towards the brick and it's not going to help. So just make sure to just flip it around really good. And you'll get the part that you really want. So moving on to 50, if you didn't get confused from that one part, because look, I tried doing it again on this part. It is really confusing. I don't know why I'm like having trouble with it, but yeah, just make sure that you get this part right. It does eventually fit, okay? Just make sure to flip it right. So next on up, we want to have the ball joint piece. Make sure that this one is facing, I guess, to the right. You know what I mean? So have it to the right, and we're going to end up getting this piece. Make sure that the studs, the 2 studs by the ball joint are facing, I guess, up. And at this point, we're just going to connect these. Just like that. You should have a gap on top, so don't worry about that. You should be fine on that. All right, step 52. We need a new part now. So it's basically this smiley face, but it's only one of them. You see what I'm saying? It's only one of them. So this is a new piece that we still haven't used. And basically what you need to do is have the middle part facing on top. And what you want to do is just come in and, you know, stick it to the smiley face. Now make sure just connect the holes into this one right here. Should all connect good. I don't know why I'm struggling with this, but it should be something like this. You're basically just extending the happy face, and that's 52. All right, so 53 is a bit confusing as well, and it's not necessarily because of, you know, the pieces, just like sometimes the instructions aren't even that good. So we're going to use a new piece, which is one of these. Think about it as a circle. It just has 2 studs on each side. You know what I mean? It's something we haven't used just yet. And then these are also some that we have not used. And these are the shoes, but these have holes in the front. Now, it's a little unclear which one it wants to use, so we're going to try out this one. So, you guys can see here, it's telling us to use this one. And I believe it's this one. Now, it's hard to judge because I'm telling you, this is not a very good picture right there. So, the way that I see it is it should have the hole more to the right more than anything. And you want to get the other one that has the hole more to the left as well. You see what I mean? And I believe this is how this is going for right now. It's very hard. This is very terrible describing right here. Very terrible. This doesn't really show how to really do this. So this is garbage, but if we mess up, then let's see, because yeah, pretty difficult. Doesn't really show you which one to even use. So what I'm gonna assume is use the one that has the hole more to the left more than anything, and you're just gonna close it in like that. So it should look something like this. Like I said, not the greatest angle. It kind of actually sucks like this. But what we have to do is flip it just like that. And I guess this hole, we're going to connect it to this one right here. Okay. Now keep in mind that you got to have the ones with the holes facing away from you. And so this is what we just extended in the last step, right? You want to get that part that we just built and put it in the back. And now with the new part, I want to go in there and close it up like that. So I'm pretty sure it's like this. Exactly like what I told you guys. Again, I don't know if I made sense on that one. Just try to figure it out if this didn't do it. If not, try to look at my video, just rewind it. It's a little bit weird, but for example, I can do this again. Does a very terrible job at explaining this, but both of these have more, I guess, holes more to the left, and this one more to the right. And these are the ones you need. You need the pair. And just go and follow again what I told you guys to do, because I'm pretty sure we might do this again for another part. So just kind of stay tuned for the next one if you didn't get this one correct. But this is where you should let me know, like, hey, you didn't really make sense on that one. So again, apologize. This has been a very tricky build. I ain't gonna lie. So there's this part. Next up for 54, new pieces that we haven't used. So this one is a flat rectangle that has a stud, and then seems like it has like a square with an open stud at the bottom. These are some that we haven't untouched yet. So this is how we're going to do this one now. So we're just going to turn this. I don't really think it matters as per se, but what you want to do is you just want to connect the hole into the stud. Pretty simple at that point. Just connect them just like that. And this is the end of 54. For 55, what you're going to need is you're going to need the house, right? We're going to end up doing this again, so you'll see this in like 60 or 70, which I do apologize. Grab these claws. It's going to end up looking something like this. I apologize. I thought I was recording. I guess I was not. And what you're going to want to do is, once you do that, just grab the piece we literally just did not too long ago. And we're going to connect it like that. And now, with the ball joint, we're going to connect it here. Okay? Like that. So I noticed something that, again, for the 100th time, I apologize. I don't know why I am having issues with this one. Maybe it's because, like, I don't have the book, like, right in front of me. Keep in mind that, like, right here, I have a selfie stick. And it's kind of, like, in the way, which is something that I don't like. So I think I'm going to try something out different for the next one. And maybe that's why I'm, like, bugging out over here. But this hole, I noticed that I had it over here. And if you can see here, this is where the next part's supposed to go for 57. So if you are there, don't freak out. All you have to do is just kind of take out some of these pieces and move that single piece over to the other side. And then just follow back again. In case if I didn't move it, because I did have an issue earlier and I moved some stuff. So maybe I might have put it backwards. But if not, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this piece right here in 44. It could actually be in 48 as well. You know what? I think it was in part 48. So make sure to double check on 48 and check that this part is perfectly good. Because, yeah, I feel like it was that part that was messed up. So make sure to go check 58. Swap it in case if I didn't. I'll put like a note on the thing, so don't worry about that. But let's go back to it. And then for 57, which again, sorry, I thought I was recording. We're going to use these domes. Don't use the dome that has the hole in the middle. You want to have the one that's just closed. And then grab this part. Sorry, like I ended up putting it on it because I thought I was recording. So I can't seem to take it off, but I'll show you the other side. You grab this piece that is going to most likely be the thigh. And then you got this part as well, and you're just going to connect it in it. And that's how I have it. For this one, just make sure to look at the picture, and you'll see which one's which. It'll literally tell you. For example, you see that the thigh here has the pointing one going more to the left than anything. And you'll literally see which one is it's asking for. So just a heads up on that. But you grab the leg, and you want to cover, in a sense, this is just like the kneecap. Just try to get all of the holes in each stud, and you should be good. Sorry, like I thought I was gonna like not do it off camera, but I guess I ended up doing it. So now for this part, this one's a little bit on the trickier side, but it's actually not too bad. So what you want to do is just have this stud and this stud in the middle and in the middle. Just like that, see? So just like in the middle, it'll literally tell you in the picture the middle of the bottom, middle of the top. And that's what's one of the feet. So now hopefully we can do these next ones without messing up and do a really good leg as well. All right, 58. And if you guys are still even there, you guys are still trusting me, I appreciate it. I lost your trust in this one, and that's my fault. But we're going to grab, again, same pieces, so I'm not going to really go over too much, but we're going to grab the 2x3 rectangle, and we're going to get this 2 stud that has a head ball joint. We're going to connect it to the bottom to the right, and as you guys can see, we're going to grab the 2 studs and do it to the top one. Now on the top one, to the far right, we're going to connect the square, just like that. And now with the other square that has the circle, we're going to make sure that the circle is facing up, okay? We're going to double check in this one, make sure, because this is the one that gave us an issue in the other one. For 59, we need 2 of the 2 studs with no holes on them, and we're just going to connect them, stack them on the other side, just like that. Boom. Now for 60, the 2 stud is always a rectangle. We're going to grab this large, I guess, shoe that's kind of flattened. And we're going to get the last final piece again, the one that has the smaller piece on top and the bigger piece at the bottom. And for this one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this piece. We're gonna get the 2 stud, put it in the middle, just like that. And then we're gonna grab the flat one and put it in the middle, put it at the bottom. And for this one, grab the smaller piece and we're gonna put it on top, just like that. So it should look something like this. Next up for 61, we're gonna grab the 2 stud. We're gonna grab the 2 stud again, with open holes, and then this one has the holes higher rather than lower. Look at the difference once again. We want the ones with the higher ones, not the lower ones. And we want a flat square as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a square, flip it over. Now with the one with the 2 circles, put it there, use the other one. And again, it's not like, even if you put it that way, it's like you can just flip it. You know what I mean? I wasn't too sure if I was showing that, so apologize. Starting to get kind of late here, so I don't know if I'm trying to make an excuse, but apologize. Next up, we need the double-sided 2 joints, studs. Now we want the one with the studs that are open and with the circles that are way lower this time. So for this one, keep in mind, look at how everything's still there. You want to get this one on top. See, now this is where I had my issue earlier, where this wasn't, I don't know how, but this was not as close, or I guess it was closer to that than anything. And now we just want to close it. We actually want to put it on top of this one and not the side over there at the bottom. You want to put it on top of the one we just literally just put. Because if you put it here, that's going to give us an issue. So make sure you're doing this correctly. And I know we already did this, right? So yeah. So next up, we got the square with the stud. We got the square with the stud again. It's an open one. But then this one has a circle. Now we got another rectangle stud with 2 studs. And we got a ball joint. And then we got just a flat square. And we got a flat square again that's double-sided. So what we're going to do is get the one that has double-sided, flip it over or whichever way. Doesn't really matter. But now we're going to get the ball joint and we're going to face it to the right. So it should look something like this. Now, keeping an eye at the picture, you want to grab the square that has the circle. And again, this is kind of crucial because this is going to come in clutch towards the end. You want to put the other square that has no circle on top and then with this circle at the bottom. So it should look something like this. And this is going to be key for the next one, okay? And then from there, we're just going to cover it. And cover this part to just make it stack just like that. Now what we're going to do, it seems like we're going to stack this with the other piece we just built. I should just, again, make sure four of those are there, 4 there, at the bottom. Should look something like this. So hopefully we got this correct. Now at this point, 64, we're going to grab the other, I guess, right angle. If you look at it like that, that's flattened out, or it's like really long. And for that, you want to go over to the top part over here and put it right there. Not this side that has 4 squares, no, or I guess a full square, no. Do it the other side and you'll see exactly where it's at. Next on up, we got a full rectangle once again, 2 studs. We got the 2 shoes, which I believe are the last 2 that we have that are normal. And then we want to get this medium rectangle that has 2 studs on top open and then 2 studs at the side that are open as well. So again, this one gave us trouble last time, but I think this one will do good. Get the studs, get the shoes, just do the heel and not, your toes and not the heel. And it should look something like this. Have it like that. Now for this next part, we're going to grab the part that we already have, flip it over to where the square is showing, and flip it over And remember, have the part that has a rectangle and not the squares. And if you put it in correctly, you should have two studs to the right and two studs facing up. So just like that. And then we're going to go grab the piece we literally just built again. Do it on the top part. Like that. And you should have two studs open right there. And this is looking pretty clean this time. Now, what you want to do is keep it like this, how we have it like that. Grab the other piece that we built a couple steps ago. Make sure that the ball joint is facing to the left this time. And again, we're just going to connect these. And bingo, bango. Look at that. I had so much issue with the other one last time. This is a way better freaking thing to do. So hopefully the studs, yep, studs are in the right way. We're doing way better in this one. So I apologize for freaking out on the other one. I don't know what was going on in that one. Going on to 67. We want to get the smiley faces again. Get the smiley face that is short. And get the other smiley face that has a gap in the middle. So what we're going to do is have the gap facing up. And again, we're going to connect. It's just like we're just doing an extension to this smiley face. We're just going to connect the eyes just like that. Again, having the gap facing up. And we're going to get this little circle that has two studs on each end. And once again, we got these shoes that are going to be a little bit hard to kind of see, but notice how one has the side more to, or the hole more to the left side, and this one has a side more to the right side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the circle, and we're going to use the one that has the one on the left side. We're going to connect it just like that. So it should look like this. And what we're going to do is have the smiley face with the gap facing you. And we're going to connect the dots, just, I guess the stud. Just like that. There you go. And now what we're going to do is go to the other side and just connect the dots. And there, we're making the other foot. Simple as that. For 69, we're going to get, let's see, connect it. I guess get these two that we discussed. Now we're just going to connect it to that side. Make sure the long one is facing down. And again, because just because we already did this, I'm speeding it up a little. But there you go. Now, grab the house once again and get the claws. We're going to be facing them down, just like that. And just like we did earlier, grab the open spots. Or I guess have it facing forward. Connect it to the house. Now you're going to go and grab the leg. And we're going to put into the ball joint. Boom. You know it's time for you to take a break and go to sleep when you thought you literally messed it up again. Look, this is how I had it. And I'm like, oh my God, I messed it up. I'm like, ball joints are on the good part, but look at this. And all I had to do was just do this. Yeah. That's when you know it's like, all right, dude, you're tired. I mean, it is practically almost midnight for me, so I need to go to sleep. Oh my gosh, I was tripping out on that one. Wow. Okay. This one has just been very frustrating. I ain't gonna lie. So same parts as the other one. So now this is for part 72. Sorry, I've been kind of skipping the parts. Well, I guess saying the parts, but I've been doing the parts. Again, grab the full dome. And then we're gonna grab these pieces once again. Again, they should just fit. And just look at the picture down here. It'll tell you which one it is. And then for the kneecap, like I told you, make sure all the squares are in just like that, or the holes. And there's your kneecap. And now again for this one, just make sure to use that side and there and connect them in. You should be good. So bingo, bingo. And now for this part, let's actually connect the legs. So as you can see, there's one and there's two. And boom, look what we got. Ooh, it's coming together, ladies and gentlemen. Ignore that part, but yes, it's coming together, okay? It is, I promise. This better be worth it, dude. I've had so much issues with this one, but Tyranitar is freaking awesome, though. All right, let's go over to the next steps. All right, moving on to 74. Step number 74 to be exact. We're going to grab 6 of the claws. These should be the only ones that you do have. Then we're going to get these 2 pegs. I believe we haven't used these. So you just grab 2 of those. And I think they might be... No, there's an extra one. And then we're going to get 2 of these, what I want to call the hazarded sign. You know, where it says like hazard. Because, you know, it's chemicals. And then we're going to get these cones that have like a small peg on top. So grab those. And what's going to end up happening is grab the cone. Grab a peg, put it inside, and this is where you put one of the hazardous signs in there, which is what's going to make the claw eventually. So go through every hazard, I guess, you know, Y shape, and that's where you're going to put the claws in. Make them pointing inwards. You know, doesn't matter which side you start off with, just as long as you have them. And I'm pretty sure this is what we're making the claw, like I kind of said earlier. So, as you can see, pretty cool, actually. I didn't think the hand was going to be like this. But this is just a claw, so we'll end up building. But we're going to do that twice. So again, grab the cone, grab the peg, put it inside, grab the hazardous sign, put it all the way in, get the claws, point them inwards. Eventually you'll have some of those, you know, that just don't want to go in. Don't know why, but hey, I could be, you know, pushing it in the wrong way or into the wrong hole. But eventually you get it in. Or you'll figure out like, hey, something's off. But there you go, 2 of the claws. Awesome. Moving on, step 75. We're going to get these domes. Now, these are the ones that have the hole in the middle. Again, it'll tell you right there. Next up, we're going to get these that look like a revolver, you know, rotator. I don't know what they're called, you know, where you stick the bullets and then you just spin it. So they're just circles that have studs on both sides. Circle with the square, you know, studs. You know what I mean? But at this point, what we're going to do, we're going to flip over one of the cones. Or excuse me, one of the domes, and it doesn't matter which way you connect it, just as long as these connect. Put it in just like that. And then you're gonna grab one of the hands. We're gonna put it in just like that. Pretty simple enough, right? Grab the dome, flip it over. Does not matter which side you put it in, just make sure that the pegs go in just like that. Grab the arm or slash claw. And we're starting to make a hand, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting to make a hand. It's funny how like this guy seems like he's going to have small hands. Look at that. Pretty cool. Step 76. We're going to need, which is what's basically the last 2 of the double-sided rectangle. So studs on both sides. You need 2 of those. Should be your last ones. You need 2 of the 2 studs with the ball joints, which as well, actually you should have 1 left from what I'm seeing. And then we're going to go with the smiley faces once again, the ones that have the gap in the middle. And this is the new ones, and these are just like caps. Just think of it as caps. There's 4 of them, and we're going to need all 4 of them. So for this, what we're going to do is get the double-sided pegs, and we're going to stick the ball joints into it. So just like that, you should have something like this. Now, at that point, we're going to flip over one of the, just the caps. And we're gonna connect it to one side. It should fit. Good. Now just try to have the holes, you know, kind of going a little bit like up to the left and down to the left. And then we're gonna grab one of the smiley faces, have the gap facing to the left. And just like that should fit. So again, have the ball joint facing this way to the right and have the gap facing to the left. And then just come and grab another one of these. And I'm pretty sure we just cover it up. Just like that. All right, so again, if you need help, we do have to make another one anyways. So what we're gonna do is grab the ball joint rectangle, stick it to the double-sided, and we're gonna stick this to one of the sides over here. Again, you'll eventually know which one it is after trial and error. It'll eventually fit, like I said. Oh, I fit one in and then the other one just backs out. Awesome. So again, you should have the ball joint facing to the right and the gap facing to the left. And now we're just gonna close it up. So this is one way that I like to do it. Just grab the open space and put it next to one of the holes, and then it'll eventually just go in just like that. All right, step 77. All we need is 2 pegs that have the head ball joints. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect it to the arm. So that's where the hole is, sticking to the pegs on both, might as well. And then these are just gonna go in this way. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter which way, but if you wanna, you know, look at it from the picture here, just stick it to where the head ball joint is just facing, you know, backwards. So just get in, and there you go. I don't think it really matters, if we're gonna be quite honest. It just says like just stick it in there, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we got our hands. So let's stick it to our bad boy over here. Again, don't really think it really matters, but I am gonna try to have these, I guess, well, I think it's both ways actually. So there you go. Rawr. Now he looks scary, but all we need is the head and the tail. But looking freaking awesome so far. I'm really starting to like this at the end. All right, next up, we opened 4 and 5 bags over here. So it should be looking something like this. Again, you don't have to do this. This is just what I like to do. But we're gonna do the head, the tail, and what seems to be also Dark Pulse. That's what I'm assuming it is. I could be wrong, but it's kind of like a dark, you know, move. So I'm going with Dark Pulse, but we'll see. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, well, first thing first, for step 78, we need the rectangle 2 studs. And we need the same size studs, but these studs are going to be open, and these are going to have the top circle on top. There is one that has one bottom, but there's only one of them. You know that you have the correct one if you have both facing top. And as always, the flat rectangle, the 2x3. And we're actually gonna have to pull this back a bit because we cannot see. See, this is why I don't like when the booklet is from top to bottom. I like them when they're to the sides instead. But what we're gonna end up doing for this part is I'll just lay it down flat like this. Lay down the flat, the part that has the circles, put this in the middle, and then put it like that. And then we're just gonna cover it up. But I like to do these a lot better because this can be tricky. Look at this. Maybe it'll go in just perfectly, but a lot of the time it's not, see? So what I wanna do is just grab the giant rectangle, put in the stud with, I guess, the one with the double stud, you know? Grab the one that has nothing on it, just a simple rectangle, put it in the middle, and now grab the other open studs and put it to the other end. So it should look something like this. Next up, we're gonna grab the same stud that has the circles on top, but this time these are gonna be red. So there's only 3 of those, so you should know you're getting the exact same ones. Next up, we're gonna grab a 2x3 again, just a rectangle. And then this is a new shape, which looks like a T, which is kind of perfect for a T-tar. But for this one, what we're gonna do is, so for this one, flip over the rectangle, and what we're gonna have to do for this one is, well, actually don't even flip it, just have it like this. But grab the corner piece, again, because it doesn't matter which one, but this is where it is gonna matter. After that, what we're gonna want to do, see, it's not too clear unless you actually look at it, but we're actually gonna do this sideways and just stick them to the side. We want the circles to be sticking out on the side. So now again, just go the other way. Because at first I was trying to put it in like this. I'm like, okay, this one fits, but the second one's not. But all you gotta do is just flip it to the sides, stick it in there, and have the red circles just sticking out to the side, just like that. Only one side should not have anything, obviously, right? Now after this, what you wanna do is grab the other piece that we had, lay it, vertical, have this one horizontal, but make sure that one of the red studs is facing to the left. So grab the empty space and connect it just like that. And now with the T, what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna connect 3 of them like this. So just connect to the side and then grab the remaining 2 and stick it just like that. Next up for step 80, once again, we got the 2 studs, rectangle, and we got the shoes once again. You need 3 of these, and you only have the smaller ones, 2 of those. So you definitely know which one. Again, just look at the picture. It'll definitely tell you, just look at the difference, One's like a full-on shoe, the other one's like a small foot. So just grab the bigger one, I guess / medium, and we'll go from there. Now from that point, we're gonna grab the shoes, and we're gonna end up filling these slots here. So we're gonna close up all the studs, put it in there. Should fit just like that. Just put it in just like that. And then we're gonna grab this one, and it seems like we're gonna cover these 2 studs. And so far we're starting to make the head, so we're going pretty good. Next on up for step number 81, we're gonna grab these right triangles that have 2 open studs on top. And at that point, we're just going to connect these at the bottom, just like that. Leaving these 2 open studs in the middle, and it should look like this. Step 82 is going to require us to get 2 of the squares with the 1 pegs or studs. And we're going to get these sort of pizza kind of looking domes. You should have about 6 of those. So just grab 2 of them, and what it seems like we're going to be doing, we're just going to be sticking it in the middle, just like that. And we need to do 2 of those. So again, just middle. You might have to make it into like a diamond shape if you think about it. And I don't think this one clicked the best. Doesn't want to. I don't know. This one didn't click as good as the other one, but well, you can see it's not even on greatest. This one clicked a lot better, so I don't know if it was just the peg over there, but yeah, so this one's good. And now what we're gonna end up doing is it seems like we're gonna be connecting to the side over here. So for this part now, what you wanna do is you wanna grab it to where it's gonna make like a right triangle in a sense. So look, here, the hole is gonna be facing to the right on top. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna connect it just like that. Now we're gonna flip it over, grab the other one. Again, have the hole facing to the left over here. And then just kind of click it in just like that. It's a little bit hard to explain the shape, but yeah, just make sure that the hole is facing the opposite way, just like that, as you can see. And eventually you'll get it there. Next up, seems like we're going to be building the face. So you want to grab this piece that is technically the nose. You see that it's going to have 2 lines. It kind of goes up in a sense like that. So, but again, should be easily identifiable. We're gonna get the two eyes, two pieces. And then these are the pieces that are kind of like broken rectangles in a sense, maybe like obtuse angles or something, triangles. Again, make sure you grab each of the opposite. There's two that are identical to each side. Just lay them down flat, and then you'll see that one has holes on the left and the other one has holes on the right. So grab one of each. And we're just going to connect it to what looks to be the face. So let's start off with the nose. So with this one, make sure that the lines are facing down instead of on top, if this is making sense. So make sure that they're at the bottom. And we're just going to connect it to this. And there's our nose. Now we're going to get, go over here. Now we're going to grab the one where the studs are, there's 3 on top and 2 at the bottom. Because if you do it like this, it'll be 2 and 3. So want to have 3 and 2. What we're going to do is we're going to flip over one of the T-Tar's eyes. And it'll eventually fit just like that. You know what I mean? So have it where there's 3 going across and 2 down. And then just flip it. And again, the pegs are going to all fit in just really fine. Just plug those in like that. And we're doing pretty good. Now grab the one from the right side. Again, you'll be able to tell if you're doing this wrong or not, because you cannot fit this way, right? You want to try to have the eyes facing towards the nose. And there you go. We got what looks like the first half of the head. Next on up, this is where you got to be just a little bit careful. Now for this one, we're going to grab this peg that has the 2 double-sideds again. It's a circle with 2 small pegs in there. You'll get another one that's a little bit weird, but if you get the one that has like a giant circle, you don't want that one. That one is not going to fit. So just a heads up on that. Grab the one that's basically bigger. You'll see difference in size. So grab this one. You need the square with the 1 peg, and then these are also these are going to be from the batch from earlier that we didn't use, but it's going to have a circle right in the middle. You're going to need 2 of those. So just like a little barrel, but you need a hole in the middle. These were from the batch from the other one. So now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to grab the square, grab this peg, and we're just going to stick it inside. Might give us some issues, but eventually it'll go in just like that. We're going to grab the head, face it, I guess flip it over. Make sure that the tongue is facing down. And for this one, we're just going to plug it into the middle one on the top. And it should look something like this. Now we're going to grab the other ones. And don't really think it matters which way you really do this. But just stick it in there. Don't really know at the moment where the circles has to go. As you can see from the picture, it doesn't really show which way. So I guess maybe facing outwards. Yeah, so facing outwards according to the picture. Just like that, so. Or you can just make it just facing like. Oh, because they are not in the same way, I see. Wait, there's only 1 hole, huh? Okay, so make sure that the holes are facing towards the back. Just like that. Oh, something came off. I don't know why. So it should look something like this. Next up, for step number 85, we're going to grab 2 of the red ones that we just used for the previous one. It's a circle that has 2 studs on each side, same size as well. And I believe these should be like some of the only ones, so you should have no issues with those. Next on up, we're going to grab 2 squares with the studs, the ones we've been using this entire time. Now, these red ones, again, it's just a square, but it's going to have a circle towards the bottom part. These should kind of be the only ones you have anyways. There's going to be 1 extra, but you'll definitely know, especially when it's colored ones, like you know exactly which ones those are. And we're going to grab the same cylinder type, I guess, / barrel, the one that we used previously, but now in red. It's going to have a circle in the middle. Should be the only one as well. And then we're going to grab this that's basically you know, a square with the little Y/wrench, and it's got a stud with an open stud on top. And what we're going to do for this one is we're going to grab one of these, the ones that has the circle in the middle/bottom. We're going to flip it over to where the circle is, you know, now on top. We're going to grab the double-sided stud, not the one with the circle, but the other small ones. We're going to stick it in the middle, and then that's where we're going to get the square. And we're going to close it. So it should look something like this, obviously a little bit better. But we're going to want to do 2 of those. So once again, flip this stud over, the one that has the circle towards the bottom. Get the stud, put it on top. Make sure it fits in. Grab the square just to cover it and keep it in place. There, now we got 2 of them. And for the next one, grab this part that has a hole like that. I guess put it facing you. And we're just going to make sure that the arm/wrench is facing towards the hole as well. Okay, next up, we're going to put this inside. So flip it over to where, you know, the parts that we just added in the previous are on top. And what you're going to want to do is we're going to want to stick now these to the side. So now make sure that the circles are facing outside of the mouth, you know. So for example, this one, let's do this one. We're going to plug it into that. The circle is going to be facing to the right. Now grab the what might seems to be holding the hand, or excuse me, the tongue or the mouth. Make sure that the circle and the wrench/Y are facing towards the nose, just like this. And I grab the other piece, and again, make sure that the circle is facing outside of it. And it should be looking something like this, where circle is facing to the left, other one's facing to the right, and then the wrench/hole are facing towards the nose. Step 86, we're gonna grab 2 of the 3 studs with open studs, and we're just gonna place them on top to just lock everything in. It's going to be a little bit rough, but eventually you'll get it in there. And then we're going to close up the part that we just added as well. So we're just closing up every gap. Make sure it's all sticking like that. So you should have like a little level as well, where one's higher than the other one. Next up, we're going to grab a small right triangle once again. I think it's the last one you have anyways. Well, no, there's still another one from the previous bags, but at least get that one. And now this time we're going to get the smaller shoes. We're not going to get the bigger one. You still should have about 2 of the bigger ones. But now it's telling us that we need the smaller ones. So just look at the ones, you know, that it tells you there. And then at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to go have the part that we were still building on. And then we're just going to cover the ends with the bigger shoes. And the small one over here, it's going to get covered just at the bottom. Make sure that the angle is going down from it, I guess. So it should be smooth from on top. The angle should be going down like that. You should have a little gap, but I'm pretty sure it's going to close up when like one of these next steps. Next up, for step 88, this is what I like to call the slippers. You'll see that they have 2 studs at the back, which is why it makes me look like they're slippers. You should only have 2 of these as well, so you definitely know which ones they are. And then you'll get these slash dome pizzas as well, the ones that we used earlier. So now, don't really matter which one you kind of use. You just want to make sure that you're covering, let's see, one of the sides. Cover it just like that, where I got the one that's, you know, considered maybe the left, and I just close it in just like that. So I'll probably be a little bit more professional on this one, but on the right sandal, what we want to do is try to have the pointy top part go on top of this. So I should be closing it just like that. It's a little hard to explain, but when you see the shape towards the back, you'll see how it kind of fits, you know? So now we got 2 of those. And now once you have those, again, just be vice versa. You'll see that there's the red peg right there. We're going to stick it to the middle of this. So as you can see here, right to the middle of part of it. And eventually, it should go in. So it should clip on just like that. Sorry, I was trying to look at it. I was like, how do you do this? But yeah, it's just like that. Again, just go to the middle part, lay it flat, and it should just go in just like that. So not too bad. Step 89, the 2 studs as always, the rectangle. Now we're gonna grab the other double-sided, well, actually just one open 2 studs, and then the circles are gonna be towards the bottom. Should be the only one left anyways. And then we're gonna grab the 2 only studs that are pink, which is gonna basically make the tongue right now. So they're just 2 of them, so don't worry too much about them. Just pick them up. So next up, just laying down flat just like this. Make sure that the circles are facing up and down, just so you guys can see. And we're gonna connect this port over here. Look, again, I don't like laying them flat because they never kind of go in for me. But just grab one, connect it to that dot. Grab the other one. And it should look something like this, you know, Cosmo and Wanda right here, ladies and gentlemen. Cosmo and Wanda. And then we're just gonna close up the gap. So again, you should have the pink circles facing up and bottom, and then for the green one, have them facing to your left. Next up for 90, we're actually gonna use this funky piece right here. I kind of want to call it like a boombox. Could be maybe like a radio station as well. Kind of looks like the Discord kind of head, you know, but grab this one. Definitely the only piece there. And we're going to grab 2 of the last remaining big shoes. Again, these are the only ones left. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to connect this boombox into this side on top. The one that does not have the studs at the side. And then we're just going to connect the shoes just like that. And I'm assuming this is making the tongue. Look at that. This is a little hinge. And that's that part. You don't connect it just yet. Just leave it at the side. We're going to continue to step 91. Next up, we're going to grab 2 of the squares with the 1 studs on top. We're going to grab just the flat, regular rectangle. Nothing on it. No holes or anything. Just obviously at the bottom. Right? But it's all flat. And then we're going to grab the last 2 pieces of the dome / pizzas. For step 91. So let's go with the easier parts. So grab the piece we just had right now. Grab the rectangle, and we're just going to close this part in the front. Kind of looked a little bit weird, but yeah, no, it just went in really good just like that. Then from this part, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to grab the square and just put it in to that middle part. You know, turn it into a diamond, basically. Do the other one as well. There you go. And now what's going to end up happening is you'll see that the part that we just inserted right now, and then there's another square to the part. This is where we're going to connect these 2. Okay, so if you're facing it like this, where the handle's facing to your right, what you want to do is you want to have the square that you just put right now go to the right side, and then the other square go to the left. So it should be something like this. And it fits in really good. So again, handle now is facing to the left. And what you want to do is, since we just inserted this square into it, trust me, you'll be able to tell which one it is. That one's going to go to your far left, and then the top one over there is going to go to the right. Again, just symmetry, right? And this is something how it should look, where the hole is this way and the hole is this way as well. Next up for 92, all we need is this Y/wrench, which is going to be able to connect stuff right now. So just grab the actual mouth, and you should see that there's a hole right there on top. Just stick it in there. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be connecting the mouth. So grab the handle and we're going to put it into this peg over here and just go in there. And just like that. Boom. So we just made the mouth. Look at that. Pretty awesome, huh? Pretty freaking awesome if you ask me. Boom, T-Tar. You're almost there, my dude. You're almost there. Step number 93. Now we're finally going to get this big sign. You know what kind of sign it is if you know what I mean. But it's also just like a star. So I'll keep it professional. And what we're going to do is we're just going to connect it. So watch. So yes, there's no actual pegs. But each one of these circles, pegs, is going to go at the edge of each one. So it should look something like that. We're not going to cover this top part over there. I think we're just going to leave it like that. And this is where the head is at, ladies and gentlemen. And now I believe we can connect this into the actual head. So if you look at it, boom. Rawr. Dude, this is actually freaking nice. I love this. You've been one heck of a pain in the butt, dude, but you're freaking dope. I kind of had, I saw a video where people have issues with the mouth, but it seems like they fixed it or something, or maybe it's with Dark Pulse when that's on it, you know? But at least for right now, the mouth seems to be pretty good. Step number 95, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost there. We can almost smell it. We're almost done with this piece over here. It's not looking freaking awesome now, but for now, we're going to get the double stud with the head ball joint. Now we're going to grab two of these double-sided square that has studs on both sides. And now we're going to get the final two remaining parts of these where, you know, depending on which way you put it, should have holes. You know, obtuse triangles slash something, rectangles, whatever. So what we want to do is we want to flip over the studs with the squares. Doesn't matter which way, again, same thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect two at the bottom. And I grab the other side, connect just two at the bottom, leaving one open spot on top. And make sure it looks something like this. Again, the holes are going to be some to the left, some to the right. And just look at how many studs I have, and in case if you're having issues with that. And then at that point, we're just going to connect the other side to the top, like that. And then finally, the head ball joint is just going to connect to the top. So you should have a figure looking just like this. Next up for 96, we're going to grab these smaller slash medium right triangles that have a stud on top. Kind of my little boots, as I like to call them as well. Not shoes, boots. And then we're going to grab these two bigger slash triangles that also have a stud on top. Again, if you're going to be given two of these that are identical, you want to grab the opposites, you know, where the holes are on the right and holes on the left when you put them together just like that. And for this, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to grab these smaller ones and we're going to connect it to the ball joint one. It's just, you know, to the sides. Just like that. And then we're going to grab these shoes and we're going to cover everything to the left and everything to the right. Again, you should have the holes facing away from the body, just like that. And that's step number 96. Step number 97, we're going to grab two squares with the studs. We're going to grab two of the circles once again that have studs at each side. Again, same size. Not the other ones, not the one that has a giant circle at the bottom or giant stud. Not that one, because that one's not going to fit. And then we're going to grab the last smiley face that should have a gap in the middle. And what we're going to do for these is we're going to flip over the square. And we're going to get the circle with the studs. And we're just going to put it in. And we're going to do that twice. Flip over the square. Make sure not to lose it. Flip it over. Connect it to this stud over here. Circle stud. I don't know why that one gave me trouble. But there you go. Now we're going to flip over which I actually don't really know what this is. Maybe it's the tail. but we're going to face it over where the ball joint is facing forward. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to connect this using the square side to the side of it, just like that. Make sure it's all being connected good. Grab the other side again. Remember, use the square side. There you go. It's still not all being connected, which is why it's like loose. And now we're gonna grab the smiley face, and again, have the gap facing forward, so away from the ball joint. So it should look something like this. And that's 97. So now once again, we're gonna repeat step number 96. This is 98, but same process where we're gonna grab 2 of the boots with the studs and grab the bigger boots with the studs. Again, opposite directions as well, right, left and right holes. And now we're just gonna flip this thing over and we're gonna do the same thing again. This time with the boots, we're gonna cover 2 holes. Just like that. We're gonna end up covering each side. Just like that. Now keep in mind that the opening should all be in the same side, because obviously it's not going to fit if you do it the other way as well. So, yep, and I'm pretty sure this is a tell. So as you can see, should all be kind of identical to each other. Next up, for step 99, ladies and gentlemen, 99. This one had a lot of steps, but again, it does have 400 pieces, so that's why. So now we're gonna grab this little circle stud that has a big stud at the bottom and a smaller stud on top. We're gonna need 2 of those. We're gonna grab this circle. Like it's a small circle. Should only be one of these available. You know, it'll make a square with the studs, but it's still a circle. And then we're also gonna grab the bigger circle. That's, you know, bigger. And then we need this one, which is the only piece. It's like 4 hinges, I guess, but think of it as a cross. So should only be this one available. So first step we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the smaller circle, and we're actually gonna stick the biggest circle on top of it. So it should make something like this. Again, just use the holes and the studs and you'll find it just like that. Hopefully it's all catching up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put one of these studs. Use the smaller stud to make it fit into that hole. And now at this point, what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna get the cross. Notice that the cross has a stud on top. Use that to put it into that hole that we're building right now. And now finally, we're gonna grab the last one. Use the smaller side again to pinch it in there, because if you use the other side, it's not gonna fit in. And there you go. Now we got this little rotating stuff. Step number 100, we're gonna grab this stick that has the ball joint, and guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna stick it in just like that. And that's step 100. Next up, 101. Now we're gonna grab 4 of these Ys/wrenches. So, okay, these look more like wrenches, okay? We're gonna grab 4 of those, and then we're gonna grab 4 of these spikes. Now keep in mind that the picture says use the smaller ones. You'll definitely be able to see which one's bigger. So you don't want to use the bigger ones. You want to use the smaller ones. You want to grab 4 of those. And what we're going to do is again, do this times 4. Just grab the small spike and then stick in the wrench. And there you go. So all we're going to do is grab the small spike, grab the wrench, and we're just going to stick it into like that. Now do that times 4. You may want to try to have the wrench facing, I guess, you know, not to where it's holding, I guess, on top, where you're making a C. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but that's kind of what the picture is showing. So just like that. Yeah, so have it like that, how I did explain it. And actually, you can push in the stick. As you guys saw, it was still hanging out. Just push it in a little bit more all the way that it can go. And you should have a little knob like that. And I grabbed the spikes, and you were going to connect it to each handle. Which, again, yes, have it shaped like a C. But then again, you can just kind of flip it or just move it around, you know? Hey, look at this. Look how awesome that looks. Dope. Next up, 102. What we're going to do is we're going to grab this cone. Should be the only one available. And we're just going to connect to the back. Again, just line up the studs with the openings. And there you go. Boom. And now at this point, grab the other piece that we've had. And we're going to be able to stick it in. Now, remember, ball joint is going to go in this way. And there you go. Should look something like this for the moment. You can close it up too, which is what's freaking awesome. Look at that. Nice. And now, we're just going to grab for a step 103. We're going to stick it to the back. And there you go. Bingo, bingo. Ah, this is actually turning out really dope. Really liking this. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, step 104. Now we're going to go with the big spikes, and we need 6 of them. So grab 6 of them, and then we're going to need 6 of these pegs, double-sided pegs. And all we're going to do is we're just going to stick it to the end, just like that. So now do this 6 times. We got 2, 3. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy that just counts it all, because why not? 4, 5, and final one, ladies and gentlemen, 6. Now this is going to be a little bit weird, but there's multiple holes, but we're actually just going to be using the top one for the head. We're going to use the bottom one right below it and the one right below that as well. So again, just like this. Boom. I don't know if you want to flip them probably to the side. Yeah. Kind of flip them to the side to make it look more badass. Oops, sorry, legs. And then just like that. And I'll do the other side as well. So boom. Awesome. Feels like I'm moving everything so much. And there you go. Those are the 6 spikes for the moment. All right, so next up, we're literally almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to grab the final 4 remaining small spikes, and then there should only be 2 giant spikes as well. And grab the last remaining 6 studs. And as always, just stick them in as well. Doesn't matter which one you choose because they're all going to fit in the same way, you know? So grab whatever and just start building them all. I'm assuming at this point we're just going to try to cover every other opening stud that's available. But I'm pretty sure there's a pattern. Oh, okay, I see. So, whoa. Actually, we might be missing some. I don't know. Or maybe that's kind of going to be left on purpose. Yeah. So I see that's going to be left on purpose. Okay. So try to grab this. Try to grab 2 small ones and a big one. Put them in the middle. And it's going to look something like this, how you're going to end up putting them on this. So, for example, we're going to grab a small one. We're going to put it on top right here next to the big one. Now we're going to grab a big one and put it in the middle. And then we're going to grab another small one, put it at the bottom. Notice that we're going to leave this open right here. I don't know why. That's just how the picture shows it. But it's just probably just an extra stud that was available. I mean, if you have an extra one, then I guess, stick it in there. But again, small one on top. Grab the big one in the middle. And then the small one to the right side. And again, if you look at the picture over here, it shows that, let's see. It shows that there's holes missing right there. Or I guess that they're open holes, right? I don't know what the purpose of that was. Maybe they forgot to add or count something, but as you see, there's still openings there. Why? No clue. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be with 106 over here. We're going to be working with Dark Pulse, and this should be the last step, actually. So let's make sure to pick up all of these steps, or I guess parts right there. Let's go. So again, now, the only remaining purple pieces are this dome. You know, they're see-through. Grab the circle that has the square pegs. And by square pegs, I mean, it's like, look, it forms a square, right? And then after that, we're going to grab the giant. Same thing as the one before, but now it's like a little tower. And there should be 3 of them. I'll grab 2 of these plates, as I like to call them. We're going to grab the base, drop the base, and the stick. So what it says to do here is grab the base, you know, the clear one. Make sure that the stud is facing on top. We're going to grab one of the big ones, the giant towers, and we're going to stick it right there. Now at that point, we're going to grab the only one, the smaller side, I guess the smaller circle. We're just going to stick it right there. Again, use the corners and the pegs to fit it all in. I don't know if I showed that, but in case if you didn't, oh, well, it's not going to go, but you know what I mean. It's a lot harder to take off at the end. So now we're going to use a platter, and let's see how's this going to go. Okay, so notice that there's a big stud and a small stud. I believe you want to use the big stud to make it fit. Yeah, so just like that. Make sure that the smaller stud is facing on top. And at this point, we're going to... So just repeating the same thing all over again. So now, once you put the plate, use the other one. There you go. Use the plate once again. Use the big piece at the bottom. You'll be able to tell, because if you're using the small one, it's not going to fit and close. And then you just do it like this. Repeat it. And then finally, we got what seems to be the cover. Now we're just going to stick the hole at the end. And don't force it too much. There's only a certain limit that it goes up to. And then there it is. Dark Pulse, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're just going to have to stick it, open up the mouth. And just, as you'll see in the back, there is a hole. In this one, it shows blue, but it's going to be a red hole, okay? And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We got Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse looks a little bit kind of off, but this is freaking nice. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, this is not the review. The review will come after this video. But there you go. That is the end. After 107 steps, we have Tyranitar, ladies and gentlemen. 400 pieces, to be exact. Well, okay. There's 396, but you know what I mean. And there's our T-Tar, ladies and gentlemen. You should have multiple pieces still available. Let me show you all the ones that you have. Again, these are just in case if you don't have some, you know. But hopefully we can find those. And there you go. But our T-Tar, we finally have it. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know how we did. I do want to apologize that there were like 3 parts where I kind of messed up and I had to go back. So hopefully you guys all had no issues with that. And hopefully my explanation was okay. I know I still got to work on it. Don't worry about that. But just give me a review. Let me know what I could improve on. Because I know, like I said, I'm still new to this, right? I call different parts different, you know. Maybe you guys call it different, so you guys are getting confused. But overall, just let me know what I can improve on. And if you found this video helpful and you learned something from this, I would appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure to come back on the channel and look at the actual reviews and other Pokemon. Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all have a good one. Peace.